and growing up in Siberia, I was looking at more like, when I read winter gear, I was thinking more like a big ass wolfskin parka, maybe it's got the mega damage liner on the inside, the light little insulation on the inside, and
Now, this is the
big,
only reason
big
I get where you guys are coming from. But remember that when it's been described to you before, part of the hazard of the bitter creep has been described as being a toxic atmosphere, not just cold.
Yep.
And that's the only reason I'm
Okay.
suggesting this kind of thing, is because you could absolutely cover yourself in anything you want to keep warm, and it'll work up to a point. But that's not going to do a damn thing against whatever else could be going on. So
exactly. I figured that there was a piece, because you said it was modular. I figured there would be a piece for like an air tank and a mask that I could put on to go with the actual more just heavy winter clothing kind of parka look, but with oxygen attached to it, like a big oxygen tank on it and a mask.
Yeah, and for anything besides that top tier, we're going to say there's definitely options. But the ones that look like spacesuits straight up, it's like a custom piece of gear that's made that way. Yeah, if there's kind of embellishments that you guys want and different things like that, there's all kinds of options and choices. You can get them whatever color, anything like that. That's all the way up to the spacesuit, the top tier as well.
Oh, okay.
You can get different colors and things like that, but down below that is where you could, if you wanted to get some fur, if you wanted to get this, that, or the other attached, whatever, you can do that. So
I'm gonna reach in my pack and pull out my communicator and call Ren.
Okay, the call goes through perfectly.
Hey, so what it looks like, they have 3 different tiers of winter clothes. I don't know if you're remembering what was going on, but basically the area that we're shooting for is cold and toxic, and they have like a 3-tier clothing situation going on over here. I was debating on whether to get this for you or not. That's the only reason why I'm calling. The 3 tiers is 1 full bodysuit, 2nd tier pieces of bodysuits, and then 3rd tier is just a mask. So I'm just trying to figure out what would you prefer to be wearing.
I already have a air filter and gas mask, but I don't know if that's going to take care of what we need here as far as just that aspect of the suit. But I would need like a suit to help me from like the thermal temperature, like being so cold.
Because I don't want to, let's just say, if I'm thinking of how you look like kind of like a Darth Vader. Like like a helmet on. I suit, like clothing and stuff on.
I would say your armor, I feel like it'd be the same as the communications gear. I don't see why you wouldn't have built your rebreather or your air filter and everything into your helmet.
That was ideal. I'm saying that's part, like, yeah, I've said I have that.
Okay.
So like I don't need necessarily, unless
the 3rd tier, you just
what I'm asking basically is, Odin, does that air filter and gas mask work for like the toxic environment here, or is it something special that I need to get, or will this suffice?
You guys are unaware of kind of what it's going to be like. Yeah. So really all you can do is plan on what is going to offer the best protection and assess the risk.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Do I have an idea of how valuable and how good this mask
your air
is
filtration systems, you're sure, are substandard compared to what a full environmental suit would offer, because it's more made for low to mid-level toxic environments.
Sure.
So you would guess that it wouldn't be a bad idea to get something that could actually offer you better protection than what it's doing. You're that's what your kind of hunch is that you wouldn't mind using this in a sandstorm. You wouldn't mind using it if somebody popped a fucking tear gas grenade. It'd be effective against most like airborne, mundane diseases and so forth. But if you wouldn't necessarily want to walk into a chlorine cloud with the
so then
system
I
you're
mean
using.
then I need a full on fucking overhaul. I need a full
Tier
thing.
3. All right.
Okay.
All right. Well, that's all I need you for. Appreciate you. Bye. Click.
Pick me up. Okay.
Text me.
All right.
Text
So
me, bro.
now that you get that information, what do you guys want to do?
I look at Ymir and I try to figure out what he wants to shoot for.
The more I wouldn't say lower end, but the more modular, like heavy parka with a gas mask on it, oxygen tank rebreather built onto it, a heavy parka jacket with maybe it's got a goggle or some sort of visor that comes with it, like something that falls down over the eyes.
Okay. So like a stage 1.
Right.
Not a 2. Okay, good. Okay,
Right.
so and that's going to give you your breathing capacity, some thermal insulation. You'll be in decent shape with that. It just won't fully environmentally seal you off.
Right.
Okay, and then
but I'm naturally resistant to cold
oh
anyway.
yeah,
so,
you're mega damage tough. I mean,
right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So
Built forward tough.
And then Akama, what are you thinking?
I'm gonna get a tier 2.
Okay. All right, so you get one that's for the most part environmentally sealed. It's going to give you a lot of protection. It's just not absolute kind of top rated. And
So
let's see.
tier 1, 2, and 3, one of each.
And the tier 3s and the tier 2 comes with almost like a wetsuit that goes on underneath all of this that works together with the suit to kind of help the thermal insulation and everything. Tier 3, actually, the inner and outer connect together, and it has, it basically has heated fluid that runs through the wetsuit portion to keep you warm and stuff. Okay, so one of those.
Did we even get the
Ymir,
price on the tier 1?
Ymir, I'm gonna say that's gonna be for your size. What was it? 25,000 and
10K for him. It was 15.
2,500 for the batteries. 10K, yeah, 15 for the tier 2. So that's gonna be 10K for we're gonna say 7,500. It's gonna be 7,500 for that suit. And let's see. And then what else are you guys gonna be interested in?
I want to get a trauma kit.
Yep.
A trauma kit, okay. What's the price on those?
2,600.
And we're going 2, 3. Real quick, did you want extra batteries for the suits? 2,500
one each.
apiece.
You do one each?
Yeah.
Okay. Trauma kit 2600. Okay. And what else we got?
I also want to shoot for a bioanalyst kit.
Bioanalysis. What do you see as the price there?
7,200. I thought I saw.
Very nice.
7,200.
Hi, little one. 7,200. Okay, and we'll go ahead and get these all stat blocked before next session. Okay. And what else?
Ymir?
Nope. That sounds good to me.
That's all?
The rations came in with the pack, so yeah, I mean, with the tent, the cube, the suits, all my lists are. We went through everything that I saw on that list.
Okay.
He
the
asks if
pack,
you guys are gonna need any portable heaters, or if you're gonna need any kind of flares or light systems. He says those
Flares
sometimes.
are in
flares are in the survival packs.
Lights already in the survival pack.
Yep.
Okay.
A heater? I don't know. I don't know.
I was gonna try to see if I could find something in the electronic little Radio Shack place where I was for like personal heaters or tent heaters.
I mean, you do have a 12-foot giant in there, though, too. I probably radiate a lot of body heat inside that tent. Just saying, just point that out, that's a pretty massive being you guys are going to be sharing the tent with, that no doubt will radiate.
If you're
Then again, I always consider you being kind of cold, though. I don't consider you being like this really warm-blooded, like, furnace.
No, it's true.
Right? Kind of like
fair enough. I was just looking at it logistically, if they were talking body heat and size.
I mean, if we need to use it, we'll just turn it on.
Right. Right.
I mean,
so I'm gonna look for like heating units and generators to heat those. And then possibly even I don't know if I don't have it in my stuff. As far as my character's like equipment and supplies, but do we have any type of like I mean, obviously we can make a fire and cook stuff on just a regular fire, but say we don't have any wood around us or anything like that. Do we have like a little burner unit for? Like...
I have ignite fire and fuel flame. I can do. Yeah, I can.
Yeah, but I'm saying if we don't have materials to ignite, like say there's no wood or a flammable object around.
Yeah, you guys can buy a really simple camp stove.
I can get a little simple like I'm gonna get a Coleman fucking propane burner.
Yeah, and realistically, even in the future, it doesn't really make sense to base everything on batteries. So things like propane and stuff, little tanks and stuff that we're used to, that's all still readily available and used. So you can
survival kits comes with a fire starter kit.
Yeah, but that's again for starting a fire with materials that are burnable and flammable, and if we don't have that,
bro, having a camp stove could come in use for all kinds of shit. That's not bad. And I mean, in a pinch, you definitely, man, you can put stones on a camp stove and use it as a heat source in a tent. I mean, so.
I could even melt down fucking, metals to fucking solder shit in a very simplified way if I need to work on something on the fly in the wilderness.
Yeah. Okay, so as you're looking around, you're actually not seeing that kind of gear in the area that you're in.
Am I seeing small, like little generators at least? Maybe
what you're seeing is the kind of electric versions of that would have like a heating coil and use like battery power and things like that. You would guess though that in an outfitter you're probably going to find something that's more kind of what you're looking for rather than the area that you're in now.
Do we have a messaging system besides just straight calls on these devices, or are these just straight up
You guys
audio comms?
I'm going to use what they look like. I'm going to say that you can open the front panel, and there's kind of like a little screen, and it just allows you to do like a simple texting kind of service. Like a military walkie-talkie kind of thing. So.
Yeah, I would just message him being like, going to, I don't know, for them to maybe meet me at the outfitter if they're finishing up, or I'll meet them there. Like this basic, you know.
You want to let them know you're heading to them?
They're at an outfitter right now, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
A warehouse. Warehouse.
I wasn't sure if it was the exact same type of play. I mean, it seemed like it would be, but I wasn't sure if it was. So yeah, I was telling them I'm heading their way. I've gotten what I think I need from here.
Okay. All right. That communique comes through as you guys are still looking through some gear, and we'll go ahead and say you go ahead and start heading on over after picking up your purchases. And as you're heading to their location, is there anything else you guys are looking for?
No.
No, I'm straight.
Yep.
Maybe rope, but I don't know if rope would be.
Yeah, I think that's in the climbing kit. I think that would, but I don't know.
We'll say 20 foot of rope per kit, and
Okay.
it's not mega damage, but I mean it's like climbing cord, so it's fucking strong as hell.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So, okay. Then as he's looking at the total, let's add things up here. Oh, he's calculating it up, guys. He's tapping his foot while he's running his numbers through his little ad machine. The tape is going up and up and up. So many zeros.
looks back over his shoulder every time it dings, confused by the sound.
Oh, shit. So 14. And then we've got the shell. And the analysis kit. And trauma kit. So it's what, 9,800.
A what?
The bio kit and the trauma kit. And then that should be it.
Just to reiterate as well, Ymir and his people and his culture don't really respect credits or value credits like that. so he's willing to put whatever portion it takes to cover the prices that we need to get the gear that we need. He's more about the needs of the group than some number on a card that belongs to him.
All right. So this guy comes back with a figure of 83,800. He kind of mulls it over for a moment, and then as he's looking you dead in the eye, Akama, he says, I think we could cut that down to 65 out the door. He says, what do you say? Good time to take a puff.
65 from 80.
From 83.8. Almost 84. So you're down almost 20K. It's
How about we say 62?
He says, how about we say 67?
60 who?
67.
Nah, we can't do that. They're going up in price.
He says, that's right.
Yeah, he's giving you a discount. You're asking for more.
See, but the thing is, though,
If you keep trying to haggle, I'm just gonna let you roll a barter roll, and we're gonna let the universe decide. You know the name of this game.
bro, I'm gonna let the universe decide.
All right, hit me with that barter roll. You are now minus 10 on the roll.
Minus 10. Where the hell is it?
Ymir snorts impatiently in the background as the two haggle over.
That's good shit.
What I do? Negative 10?
Mm-hmm. Just put in minus 10. Oh my god. Fucking outstanding, bro.
Well, give me my money, dog.
God damn. Here it is. All right. He finally, after a little browbeating, after you kind of stare him down for a moment, just give him that uncomfortable, like, don't look away eye contact.
Yeah, I'm staring into his soul right now.
He flinches. He acquiesces. And he says, all right. He says, I'll do 55. He says, I won't go a credit lower. You can
You have
see
yourself
it.
a deal.
You
And I
can
stick
see-
my hand out.
Nice. Okay, as soon as you do, his fires out like a fucking cannon shot and slams into yours and then hurts himself pretty badly because yours is like a fucking statue, pretty much. And as his chubby little digits wrap around your hand, he shakes feverishly and says, very well. And he pulls out his little transaction device and holds it out to you for you to scan whatever credit devices you're going to. It'll be 55K. Who's paying? What's happening?
Oh, I'm giving him my
Where's the
card.
money?
I give him the joint account card.
Okay. All right. Go ahead and subtract the appropriate amount, please. And as you guys are wrapping everything up and preparations are starting to be made for the receipt of your merchandise, did you, Ymir, does Wotek have any kind of, he doesn't have any kind of barding, right?
Yeah, he does. Yeah,
Does he have
he's got
barding?
barding. Yes.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I didn't remember.
Yeah.
For some reason,
Yep.
we got to get new
Yeah, no,
images going. I think.
No,
I'd
I've
love
saddled
to
him.
see
Yeah,
some new
yeah,
shit.
yeah. One of the very first things I did ever in the adventure was saddle him up.
Okay.
So yeah, I've definitely got barding.
Okay, nice. So yeah, there shouldn't be any problem loading up pretty massive shit.
Yeah.
You guys do think that probably where you're going to have to store the large 6x6 box, that may be something you have to put on the rail, because barding really wouldn't accommodate that unless, I don't know, man. You'd have to lash the fuck out of that. You'd have to.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd just be like this huge nest of rope. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah.
You see what I'm
Kilo was
saying?
just saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Anyway, that's the only thing I could see as maybe being a little issue for storage. But so as they're starting to get stuff together, they do ask you, Akama. One of the assistants comes up and asks you, where would you like to have this delivered? Do you want to take receipt of it here? What do you want to do?
Basically, have it delivered to where his truck is.
Okay. Basically the motor pool of the Berg, I believe. Yep. And so they get the specific garage designation and the vehicle designation, and they go ahead and start getting that all set up to have everything transported over. Is there anything that you guys do want to take with you now? And right now, we'll say Ren is arriving and finds you find your companions getting ready to have all this stuff shipped off and everything.
Okay.
So is there anything you guys would like to keep on you? Okay. So Ren, as you arrive, you do, just walking through one of the initial areas, you do find exactly the kind of camp stoves that you're looking for. Some of them, I mean, you can go from as small as like a small briefcase, all the way up to something that would be like a large, like a piece of luggage. That it kind of all kind of adjusts. And the one that's like a small briefcase, it just has like 2 simple burners built into it and is fairly, just a good, efficient, high quality unit. But it comes with its own, tank. It's only 200 credits. And each tank of propane is only going to be like 10 credits.
Okay.
Now, you can scale that up, like I said, all the way up to like the size of, I mean, they've even got ones that are made for like campers and shit that are like little mini stove style
I'll go
sizes.
for that just because it's fairly reasonably priced, and we've got Ymir who eats bigger than a double little burner, I think.
Right.
So now, are you? How big of one are you wanting? Something like a piece of luggage, or something like a mini fridge? I mean, how big do you want to go?
I'm gonna be looking for something that's to feed Ymir if need be. Well, I mean, no, because we're gonna be relying on like campfires and stuff.
Let me throw this out too. There are options that are the actual. You can get stoves that are made to cook mega damage meat. So if any of your group has like cooking ability, especially if they're trained in like mega damage food preparation, but even in mundane, if you have the right kind of stoves, and some of these are like laser varieties, they use that to break down the proteins in the meat, but some of them are like intense mega damage fire, different things like that. You do have the option of eating like mega damage shit, right? So now those, I feel if you did try and use them as a heat source, they're going to provide a lot more fucking heat, but they are about 10 times as expensive as the SDC kind of stoves.
I mean, I was just looking for something to back up in case we didn't have a fire. This is like a crazy amount of information that I don't think that Ren would be aware of, or yeah, like he's just trying to be like, hey, if we don't have fire and we need to eat this, so he's just gonna get the more simplified version because
Okay.
he wouldn't know all that. That's like yeah, like this is like, hey, we can create a fire. I can create fire. Ymir can create fire. We can burn shit all day long. If we don't, here's a backup. He'll get fucking 8 propane tanks and the 2 burner for just in case we need to.
All right, and I think I said that was what? Did I say 2?
It was 200 for the burner and then 10
and
propane
10.
each, so it'd be 280.
Okay. All right. So actually, it'd be 9 tanks. Okay.
Yeah, if it comes with one, yeah, it'd be a total of 9.
And are you wanting to? Which card do you want to use to do this? Your personal.
I would just use my own personal card. Yeah,
okay.
I'll just use my personal card on this one.
Sounds good. Go ahead and do that, and you can add that to your equipment list. Okay, is there anything else anybody's wanting to pick up?
No.
All set to go? All right. Well, as the transaction is finalized, the sales associate wishes you all a great day and says he greatly appreciates your business. He waddles off somewhere out of sight to calculate his commission and get ready to take his lady out on a fine night on the town, thanks to your guys' purchases. As you head out of this warehouse-like establishment, you hit the main street once again, and you guys are ready to go. Where would you like to head? What would you like to do?
How long has it been? How much time has passed?
We're going to say it's
the whole process.
We're going to say it's been about 45 minutes. So about 15 minutes until the rendezvous.
Oh, okay.
Well, I was also I forgot, I was looking for like a heating source for the tents too.
That's what I was saying about the stoves. Now you can buy a separate one, or if you're wanting to just use, like if you're literally just, if you're just wanting like basically something to heat up, you can use the stoves, but then there's separate.
I was looking for more like a battery-powered heater or generator-supplied heater as opposed to a propane-based.
Absolutely. So you do want to get the camp stove though, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I just
heaters, you're looking at something that would be really efficient at radiating heat that would run we'll say a 24-hour total capacity battery. So it's going to put out a decent amount of heat. We'll say it's like 50 credits.
Would these be compatible with PPE batteries if I could somehow, or if I could fabricate it to make that happen?
Oh yeah, you're more than capable. You're more than capable on working on any variety of these kind of heaters and converting it over. It'd just take a little time. So, and you could even simply add shit to it where it's got like a cord where you just like hold on to the cord and like power it that way, you know what I mean? So let's see. Okay, so so you find some different models, obviously all different kinds of prices, but the cheapest ones are about 50 credits and they come with one rechargeable battery that has a 24-hour life. So
50 credits, you said?
50, yeah.
I'll buy 2 of those, and then
they're not very substantial. If you go up in price, you can get shit that's going to pump out a lot of heat. It's all up to what you want to spend.
I mean, trying to assume what would fill up would heat up our tent for.
You guess that the one that's about 150 credits it's got a 24-hour life cycle, but it also is able to hook into a circulation system, and it's able to basically essentially it's an upgraded model where it can get circulated by vent systems and control how hot it's making itself and all that kind of shit. So it's kind of like made to work with the kind of 5-man tent that you guys have in order to kind of climate control the whole thing instead of having to manually keep turning shit down and adjust it and
150 plus the
whatever.
battery comes with that one?
Yep.
Well, I'll just get one of those. Yeah, that's fine. And then I'll try to mess with it to see if I convert so we can keep reusing batteries and recharging with PPE.
Sounds good. And that is about the size. That one's actually pretty advanced, pretty decent. It's about the size of a VCR.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool.
And pretty high tech. So, okay. Anything else you guys are needing?
How much was my purchase again? 55,000.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. You guys head on out. You got about 15 minutes left. What are we doing? As you hit the street, I will say, you guys haven't really eaten today, and the odors coming from the vendors are starting to hit all of your stomachs.
I'm hungry. Let's go get some chow.
I will just kind of follow while breaking open like the instruction manuals of these things, kind of trying to decipher the layout of these things I bought, just to see how I can, just to get like to possibly speed up once I do try to tinker with them, get a prior knowledge to how how they work and the layout blueprints of them if they're in the instruction manual or anywhere.
Absolutely.
And I'll just kind of be.
You do have the option also of using your telemechanics, and just
I'll do that once we're possibly once we sit down. But as we're walking, I'm just gonna kind of be browsing through it, and I'll just say to Akama, once he mentioned food, I'll be like, "You guide, I'll eat wherever. It's fine," and then I'll just go back to my looking through things.
I love you. Excellent, bro.
What?
Oh, I just got handed a treat. Sorry. All right. All right. So as you go back to checking out the instructions and getting a jump start on tinkering with your new purchases, I assume you guys just want to start heading out and finding something to. Are you all wanting to grab some food, or is it just Akama?
Let's just go as a. We'll go
There's all kinds of you guys can literally just pick up a few little.
I was planning on him picking the place while I'm reading, so I could just, wherever he chooses, I will eat. I'm just trying to. Okay. I'm not focused on that. I'm just like, yeah, you take care of that for me. I'm following your lead, but I'm kind of trying to figure this out. But yes, I am also eating.
Okay, Ymir, do you have any input on where to eat or anything?
No, Ymir just knows that time is short and that they need to fuel up, and they've got their supplies, and the rendezvous is close by. So, like Kilo, almost, it's pretty much like letting Akama take the lead. Yes, we'll go eat, but knowing what they have coming up, he's more focused on the rendezvous with Blitz than actually getting food. But he knows it's important, so he's just following the lead.
You guys, we're just going to kind of really quickly go through this. You guys find Akama, your nose leads you to a really good noodle vendor that reminds you of this beach planet that you visited once long ago.
What are hot dogs?
And you get yours with hot dogs in it. And so, yeah, you guys just really quick enjoy like a little meal of some noodles and veggies and just something really simple. It only costs a few credits. Out of the community fund, Akama, why don't you just take like 20 credits? That should be plenty. And
even
you guys
with
just
my giant portions. Yeah.
Oh yeah. You get a nice big bowl, and it's just
Yep.
These are pretty fucking basic.
Like a big bowl of pho or something. Yeah.
Not good. Like decent but not good, like that.
Street vendor,
Right, right.
Yeah.
So you guys fill your bellies and then start moving on. As you do, once again, you all notice a certain individual in the street that seems to be staring at you again. This is the second time as you pass this location that it seems to take special notice of you, and its head and eyes follow you as you proceed past it. But soon you are back to the transit station, and you guys are moving on through. You return to the front of the blacksmith shop and the location of Wotech within a few moments. And as you do so, you find Wotech still laying on his side, but now there is a kind of green liquid that appears to have dribbled out of perhaps his ear and just kind of pooled up under one cheek, the fur of one cheek where he's laying. And as you guys approach, he kind of slowly raises his head up, and his eyes look a little glossy, and he looks just a little dazed. And he kind of lets out just kind of like a kind of feeble and confused kind of grumble towards you, Ymir, as he senses you approaching. You simultaneously, Ren, you get a hit from your drones, and you pick up that one of them has spotted Blitz approaching, and he's just mere moments away. He's literally right up one of the side streets connecting to this area. And he seems to have a rather short figure in tow behind him. This figure is wrapped in a large trench coat and brown fedora, matching brown fedora. And it drapes all the way to the ground and slides across the ground eerily as it's walking along beside Blitz. You would say that this figure is only about 3, maybe 3.5 feet tall. And it walks with a kind of strange, kind of loping gait to its cadence. All right, you would guess that you're going to say like 2 minutes out from him arriving, judging by the distance. What would you like to do? Say this all just comes through on your, we'll say your heads up display, the alert.
I'll just, I'll give the information about the timing about when he'll be, should be showing up with, and then just, I don't know, I'll relay that information.
Okay.
To both Akama and Ymir, obviously Ymir.
Okay. You guys are all standing around in a group. Go ahead.
Yep. Concerned, obviously, by Wotech's outcries and the new developments and everything. He's concerned, but he's also relieved to hear what Ren says, that Blitz kept his word and he was there within the time lapse that Ymir gave him. So he gratefully nods his head towards Ren when he relays that information and kind of looks down the street anticipating the two arrival.
Okay. A couple of minutes tick by. Okay, we got about 10 minutes. A couple of minutes tick by.
We can go a little longer, Odin, if you need to, as far as the storyline is concerned. I'm not going to drop you in the middle of something. So if you need to go a little over, we can go a little over, but it just can't be super duper.
Sure. Yeah, you just let me know kind of what we're working with. I don't want to. Okay. I don't want to.
I mean, at 7:15. If it goes till 7:15, that's.
Does that work for you guys?
You said 7, no exception. Yeah, of course, that's fine.
All right, so Within a couple of moments, Blitz appears once again. Give me just 1 second here. Okay. Blitz appears again before you. And as he kind of strides up, you notice that his head is down and he looks a little guilty and ashamed. Now, as he gets a little bit closer with his companion, you see that the shame on his face, you would think it's shame. You're not sure. He looks like a microwave pineapple.
Right.
You think that the shame actually intensifies as he sees the very sorry state of Wotek. Perhaps feeling responsible? Who knows? As he steps forward, however, he seems to immediately defer to his colleague and allows this individual to step forward, and apparently he's ready to diagnose the patient immediately as he simply steps over to the side of Wotek, bypassing all of you guys, and begins kind of hovering over him and kind of just kind of checking him out. He pulls out a couple of small medical scanning devices and begins kind of hovering over the huge 20-foot spirit bear, trying to analyze what could be wrong. As he's doing his fastidious work, Blitz steps over, kind of sidles up to your group, and kind of he kind of surreptitiously tries to just insert himself into the group dynamic. He immediately steps next to all of you, but turns directly towards his companion who's examining Wotek, and just starts kind of going, "Hey, what do you think he's gonna find? I wonder if this guy's gonna be able to figure out what's going on with it. What do you think? So what are we doing, guys? What are we up to today? What's happening?"
Ymir looks over at Blitz, and his expression is actually softened a little bit because he is grateful. He's actually kind of shocked that Blitz made it within the window, especially with how he responded to him and getting to the call and he was very uncertain whether Blitz was going to make that timetable or not, but he is extremely grateful, and so he just his stoic expression kind of softens and goes, "In my culture, that's how we prove that we are truly friends. What you did today, I will not forget. Thank you."
Okay, and he just looks up at you pretty surprised, actually. He seems pretty just taken aback, and he definitely wasn't expecting this. But as his eyebrows fly upwards, he just kind of like nods in a stunned kind of way. And then he nods over towards Wotek and he goes, "How's he been? How's he doing? Your friend, I mean."
Not good. The fungus started first. I was able to make it recede to this, but it has only gotten worse. And so I've had him resting here waiting for you. I am very worried.
Okay, and as soon as you finish this statement, you hear this kind of high, kind of tittering kind of laughter. It's almost like a chattering kind of giggle. And it starts really, really low, but it's coming from the individual that's standing over Wotek and examining him. This individual slowly stands up, and even fully upright, he seems to have just kind of a really strangely proportioned physiology. Now, he turns around, and as he does so, the first thing you see is there's no other way to put it. Below the trench coat, this figure is nude. And you're seeing basically a dangling chimpanzee member just kind of wiggling at you from pretty close to the ground. As you look up, you see that he's basically a chimp-like mutant that appears to have gone through extensive genetic modification. Now, you don't know if that means it's, from the markings, you're not sure if that's like cybernetics or if it's just, you've never really seen something quite like him before. But as the laughter continues, you realize that it's coming from this being and that he has a fairly human-sounding voice. He very quickly realizes that everybody was just checking out his dong and snatches his trench coat closed really tight and then really quickly cinches up the belt one more time hard. But what you seem to pick up is that this creature doesn't seem to like wear clothing, or else it would have put on like actual clothes. All it did is just kind of basically throw a trench coat over itself. It's also wearing the fedora, which is now tipped back so that you can actually see its face. Now, it has a gruesome, macabre smile that stretches ear to ear. And the chattering laughter combined with the grin instantly is extremely off-putting to each one of you. There's something about it that really, really is... It's disturbing, fundamentally disturbing. And there's something about this creature that seems to just ooze malice. Now, as it looks up at you each, its dark eyes just dart from one to the other, but the movements of its eyes are making you all get the sense that this creature is thinking incredibly quickly. It's more than just a nervous tick. There's something about it that it's giving off the air that it's moving much more quickly than the rest of you guys are, at least at the moment. Now, as this happens, the giggling kind of starts to fade. Is there anything that any of you want to say or do as this is happening?
Can I possibly get a, just from watching it and look almost like it's computing information or running through things in its head, can I get a idea of all what it's quickly looked at to see if I can ascertain what it may be trying to figure out, if that's possible at all?
From what you're familiar with, you're not a biology expert necessarily, but you understand the basics and, some more advanced kind of practices and theories. You get the idea that it was essentially trying to just ascertain the overall health of Wotek, and then it seemed to really focus on his ears and kind of laser in on what you guys have noticed with the fungus and so forth before it started giggling and standing up. So it seems to already kind of be up to speed. Does that answer what you're asking? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I was trying to just, for the most part, just trying to see if it was understanding, but also I was trying to see maybe if it looked shady at all by its looking around and trying to figure things out. If it was just focused.
As you were watching it, you did not notice anything that set off any alarms. In fact, it seemed pretty hands-off. Most of the sensory devices that it was using, it was able to do from several inches away. So, okay. So as this creature finishes laughing mirthfully, it looks over at Blitz, and it makes a series of kind of clicking and kind of chirping noises with its tongue that remind you of several like Aboriginal tribes that you've each, heard lore of over the years. And as it does this, you're all kind of taken aback because you wouldn't expect Blitz to understand something like this. Blitz, in turn, looks down at him and reaches over and just kind of makes a knock it off kind of motion with his arm a few feet away from this creature.
Can
And
I reach in my pack and pull out a translator?
You start reaching in to pull out your translator, and as you start producing it, the creature gets an even wider smile on its face and looks directly at you. And this time it looks really agitated after a second. It goes from looking really happy to being kind of serious. And it starts waving its arms up and down in an angry fashion. And it starts, making the same clicking and whistling noises and kind of chirping and doing all this exaggerated stuff like it's really pissed off. Now, once again, Blitz chimes in, and this time he says, "Will you knock it the fuck off? We got something serious going on here. Jesus Christ. I told you this was not a joke and that I didn't want to fucking piss these guys off. Let's go." As soon as he says this, the creature stops its hysterics. Its grin returns slowly as it's staring you in the eyes, Akama, and it says in perfect English, "Very well. If it is time to get to business, I suppose we shall be about it. You there, the smart one," and he points directly at you, Akama, and he says, "I will need your assistance lifting the bear's head. Be a good lad and come along." And it spins on its heels, heads right over to Wotek's head, and just stands over the head and then points directly down at it, kind of commanding you to lift that side of his head up off of the ground.
Okay. I look at Ymir and I say, "May I?"
Ymir notices the sign of respect from Akama and nods his head in agreement slowly because he trusts him.
So I go and I take a kneeling position, and then I lift the head up.
All right, his head's about the size of a recliner, so you start lifting this massive fucking furry object up.
Yeah,
and
with two hands, of course.
I mean, you're supernatural. Yeah, you're strong enough, but you're trying to be gentle about it. As you lift it up, you do notice there's this kind of stinky, greasy, kind of web of viscous fluid that's connected to where his head was laying, that was drooling out of his ear and is now like this big, sloppy, nasty mess. It's very... the odor is extremely foul and kind of smells like rotting meat. Now, as
Spit on the floor.
as you lift his head up, you right away see the chimp individual sweep in, and from a little knapsack that he's got, he produces a small syringe. It's kind of like an old-fashioned style. It's got like brass, the kind of accoutrements to it, and it just looks much more Baroque than necessary. But as he produces it, you see that it's only got maybe, 2 or 3 ounces of some kind of clear fluid that appears to have these small, sparkling kind of motes of silver that shine in and out of existence within the fluid. He holds this up towards you, Ymir, and he says, "I assume you to be the caretaker."
Ymir nods his head, and Ymir just nods his head firmly at the genetically modified ape, still concerned about Wotek.
As you do this, he nods, and as he goes to turn back around to your companion, but then he hesitates for just a moment, and his eyes kind of lock on you. And although he has a serious look on his face again, he kind of slowly takes a few seconds to look you all the way up and all the way down. And as he finishes, he cocks his head to the side just a little, and he says, "Fascinating. I would love to get you on my table one day, my lad." And as he does so, he spins around, and you could swear you saw just a hint of a smile on his face as he said it. Now he spins around and he very quickly jabs Wotek directly into the ear canal that was leaking so badly, which elicits just a grumble from the mighty bear. He seems to eject about half of the liquid, and then he goes over to the other side and does the other ear in the same fashion. He takes the syringe and drops it into some kind of red sack that almost looks like it's satin or silk. And when the syringe disappears into it, all of a sudden, the little sack looks empty. It's like it just dropped into nothing. He replaced the sack back into a little side pouch inside the trench coat. And then he turns towards Blitz and he says, "Anything else?" And Blitz simply responds with, No, I'll be in touch about what we talked about." And with this, the simian creature simply smiles even more broadly and just nods once slowly with a very devilish gleam in its eye as it stares directly through Blitz. It then looks up at each of you very briefly and just grins one more time and nods, and then turns and starts very quickly hauling ass back down the same side street that it came from. It's actually kind of like running on all fours and loping forward and taking off. As soon as this happens, Blitz just kind of has his head down and seems to be thinking about something very serious. He doesn't really say or do anything. He's just standing there. What would you guys like to do? Wotek, by the way, has not made any further noise or doesn't seem to... He's just still kind of got his head in Akama's hands, and he's just kind of... His eyes are still kind of glossy, and he's just kind of out of it.
Ymir looks at Blitz and goes, "Is my brother better?"
He's silent. He's still just looking down and forward, almost with like a 1,000-yard stare. His mouth is slightly open, like he's concentrating on something really, really hard. He literally seems like he didn't even hear you.
And so Ymir raises his voice slightly. The octaves in his voice go up, or the bass in his voice goes up, and he goes, "Blitz."
Okay, and he kind of starts and turns over towards you and kind of looks at you wide eyed, and he goes, yeah, oh, sorry, yeah. No, he's going to be fine. He's going to be fine. He very quickly looks over at you, Ren, and he says, "Listen, we need to talk. You need to be careful with that gel."
Is that gonna make mushrooms grow out of her ears too?
He just looks at you really serious when you say this, and he goes, I don't think so. Just trust me. When you're using it, just use it sparingly," he says. "But in
That
your
was the plan
case,"
from the get-go.
he says, "in your case, you gotta use it. So I'm not really sure what to tell you," he says. "So give me some time and I'll be in touch. I may have some ideas for an alternative for your friend. So just give me a little time, but between now and then, just don't use much of that. Just don't use much at all." And he just kind of starts looking down again, shaking his head.
What have you done? Why is this the way it is? How is this contaminated? What is this not something you typically deal with?
He says, "Look, normally I probably would keep this a little close to my chest. I don't like talking about where I get my shit from, but I've been approached by a program of pharmaceutical enthusiasts, shall we say, a collective that some of the things they're supplying to us on the street at level, we believe may be a bit tainted. We'll put it that way. there's a lot of ins and outs, a lot of intricacies to this whole thing. But what you need to know is I may have gotten a hold of some bad shit. And I don't mean bad like it's got a virus, oh boo-hoo, or it's magical and it'll make you grow another tit, or it's super addictive. Ooh! No. This stuff, well, it doesn't make sense unless you know the whole story, but let's just say it's anomalous and leave it at that.
Don't think I appreciate you telling me what I do and don't need to know. I need to know, are you going to fix this? And if something does go wrong with what you've already given, are you going to fix that?
He says, look, we're all adults. I'm just the supplier. You make the decision what to put into your body, just like your friend does. But I will say that and he's quiet for a moment. And he just says, listen, I want to help her. And I want to help you folks. You've been good to me. I don't think you want to know any more than I can tell you right now. Because people like him, and he cocks a thumb behind him at the exit way of your simian friend back there. And he says, people like him, they don't like people knowing their business. And he says, and trust me, when it comes to anomalies, that's all their business. He says they're the only ones where that kind of shit is taking place, at least on this planet. He says, but I promise you, if I find out that there's some kind of detrimental effect that I didn't know about before in the orange slime, I promise I'm going to get a hold of you. I'm going to let you know. And if I can come up with an alternative that will help your friend, I will do it. He says, you have my word.
Ren will hold out his hand to shake his nasty little wet cigar-looking fingers.
Oh, and as you move in for it, it's like somebody's hand that's been in a pool for the entire day. It's just so much moisture comes off.
I just picture grabbing 4 Slim Jims that have been floating and fucking
that are extra salted.
It's pickled.
The ends of his fingers are all twisted up like sausages. All right, so as you do that, he starts moving over towards Wotek to kind of take a look at him and see how he's doing. As you guys all kind of focus on that yourselves, you do notice that his eyes seem to be less glossy, and already, Akama, you can feel that he's started to lift the weight of his own head up off of your hands. Okay. You're still supporting him just barely, but it's more because he's actually starting to shift his weight and get himself back up to where he can kind of push off of the ground and stand. Within just a few seconds, he's able to do that. It takes him a couple of tries, but as he does so, he takes a couple of massive swings of his head to try and clear his ear canal, and I mean, probably 2 or 3 pints each shake of his Ren dives for cover and avoids any of the slime.
Dude, I had an ear infection bad when I was in 7th grade, and just me, a regular human-sized boy, had shit leaking out of my ear. That was, I didn't know that much shit could be in my head. So
and it smells real good too. All right, man, you dive for cover. Unfortunately,
roll out of it.
Your companions, Ren made it, but everybody else gets splattered a bit. Y'all get a little bit of stinky stuff on you, but it's nothing too major. Now, as he stands fully up, you guys do notice that right away he seems to take in a deep fucking breath, and he lets out like a deep kind of chuffing cough. And as he does so, you hear him kind of move up some phlegm and some shit, but right away he seems to start breathing nice and deep and steady. And after shaking his head a few times, he kind of really quickly like straightens himself up. And for the first time in a bit here, Ymir, he looks up at you with clear eyes after just a few seconds, and actually has a look of just total relief on his face. And he goes over and literally he hits Blitz hard enough with his snout trying to kind of poke at him that he knocks Blitz like all the way over onto his ass. And Wotek follows him over and just kind of starts snorting at him and sniffing at him in approval. So with this, Blitz kind of lets out just a little chuckle and quickly tells him to get the fuck off of him and starts trying to stand up. But as he rights himself, you can tell right away that Wotek is feeling much, much better. You're also seeing that there's no more fluid leaking from his ears, but you realize that it'd probably be a good idea to try and get cleaned up relatively soon, which he's actually even able to do with his magic. So, okay, as he starts getting himself sorted once again, I think that would be a great place for us to go ahead and wrap it up, guys. You guys are pretty much all set to go. Appreciate it. Great job, everybody. And now, bow your head for the patrons. BKZJT, Rapid 3642. Andy Sasa, Nova Rose, Kelly T, Tommy Gunn. The Z24 Colts, Jess H, It's. If you would like a special thank you at the end of each of my videos, and some other cool stuff as well, visit patreon.com/homegrown lore. Thank you.